Hello all newcomers, and welcome back my fellow Aeternians. As always, it's me, Emperor AP, and today I decided to get up a little early to start another beautiful day in Aeternia. The first thing that I did was I got up, got dressed, and decided to knock out a few chores that I needed to get done, starting with doing some good old-fashioned sweeping and mopping. Now, this is for all of you out there who don't think that emperors have to sweep and mop just like everyone else. We sure do. We knock out our chores, we get them done, and we make our empires look spotless. After all, who wants to run a dirty empire? Certainly not me. So, once I finished the sweeping and mopping though, I realized I would take some time to vacuum, but before I could vacuum I noticed something suspicious. Something that could not do. There was some trash left out. And I realized this was an unforgivable crime that only had one reasonable response. I'd have to wait till later to vacuum. After that, I decided to finish up with some dusting. Once that was done, all of my chores were complete and I was ready to get on with the rest of my day. One of the things I'm really excited about is I actually went and got some cards to mail out some letters because we have had our second official purchase of Imperial notes from the Imperial Market. That's right, if you haven't checked out our Imperial Market yet, I definitely suggest you do. It's an Etsy shop we started up to be able to sell items to fellow micronationalists like ourselves and to get ourselves out there as well as to help the micronational community. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. But with all of our new purchases, especially of our Imperial notes, as they are our first product that we hold so near and dear to us, our first few purchasers are going to be receiving handwritten notes by myself, so I had to get the cards ready and the envelopes to mail those out, and we are going to be sending the first ones out this week, so stay tuned for a video on that. So once I got the cards and got back, my friend showed up, and unfortunately, because of just the private circumstances of that, I wasn't able to film most of my day spending time with people I care about, but I was able to pick right back up toward the end of the day with one more exciting project for us. Since we have made our second sale, that means that we can start adding new products to our Imperial Marketplace, because we've been able to supply enough money to our brand in order to expand what we have on the website. Of course, it costs us a certain amount of money to hold different items on the website and make those available to you guys, so every purchase helps us to expand that catalog and what we can keep on there. The next thing that we are going to be putting on are things that are going to be melted in our Imperial Forge, and the best way to get started with making some nice quality forged metal products for you guys is to make some casts. So I figured the best way to get started with that was to go ahead and make the clay that we would need for our casts, and start out with two trial casts for us. One to help make nicer ingots, and the second to help us make some little coins with our Aeternian A stamped on them. The way that this recipe said to go was you get 2 parts flour to 1 part salt and 1 part water, and you blend those things together, and whenever you do that, it makes this doughy, sort of soft, sticky clay. And the reason that you're going to want so much more flour than that water and sugar is because that flour, as your dough starts to harden and thicken, as our clay starts to harden and thicken, that's going to be the thing that actually keeps it from being just this sticky mess into forming this nice, thick dough that'll actually allow us to take some of that excess grimy, gooky mess off of our fingers and put it back into the dough to continue to conserve some of that. So once we got our dough all mixed together, we were able to start making our shapes. Like I said, the first one that we did was to try and make a nicer shape for our ingots, our larger pieces of metal that we'll eventually just be able to take and plop into our forge whenever we're ready, that will already be preset pure pieces of aluminum that we'll have. And then the next thing I wanted to make is trying one of our initial Aeternian forged market pieces. And that will be some little coins, or maybe some little pendants if we decide to make that and drill holes into them with our Aeternian A. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to take that same mold that we have and break a little piece off, so that we can form a smaller version of that same ingot mold. And what we're going to do is form that basically in the same way. One thing of importance to note is that you want to make the bottoms of these really, really thick. As thick as possible, because we're going to be pouring molten molten hot aluminum into these, and potentially other metals, that will be able to eat straight through it if it is not thick enough. It doesn't have to be crazy thick because this clay will be durable enough to hold that, but it does need to be thick enough to make sure that that hot metal doesn't plop right through. So once you have that thick base and those thick sides created, you're going to want to start to carve your little symbol down into the bottom. And for us, that was our Aeternian A. So that's what we did. I actually used a little toothpick to make some nice concise dots all the way through it, as you can see here. And then what I decided to do to speed up the process, this clay will actually air dry if you leave it alone or if you leave it outside to bake in the sun. You can even put it over a fire if you wanted to have the fire roast it. But I figured the quickest and safest way for us to do it would be to go ahead and throw it in the oven. So I preheated our oven to 350 degrees and threw them in for about 5 to 10 minutes, just kind of checking them every once in a while to make sure their consistency held up and that we didn't lose our shape. Every once in a while, one of the things I did off camera actually was continue to poke that little A while it was in there and make sure that it held its shape. Once that 10 minutes was up, I went ahead and pulled out our new pieces, and sure enough, they were not only hard, but they were also very spongy. Such to the point that they were almost like rubber. They were able to bounce back and hold their shape, which will be fantastic for our molding because it means we may be able to actually bend and flex our molds so that once we pour our aluminum in, we may be able to retain the mold and not have to break it instantly. We're going to see how that turns out once we pour our molten metal in, but hopefully if this keeps that flexible consistency, we can actually pour our metal in, have it cast in, and then bend and flex our cast until it pops out without actually needing to crack and break our mold like we may need to with other types of clay. And as you can see here, the finished products, we have that one Aeternian A that will potentially be little coins or other little small items with that Aeternian A. And then as well we have our large piece for just general ingots that we will eventually be doing some stamping into to make personalized as well. These are just two very rough attempts initially, and we're going to get back to doing some more detail in a little while, but I figured that would be a fantastic way to wrap up our day, and I feel excited about the future. Like I said, starting this week I'm going to be mailing out those first initial Aeternian note letters, thanking you all who have decided to purchase those and who are helping us to keep our Imperial Market up and running, expanding even, and also to help us just keep fueling our dreams. It means a lot to me personally. This has been a dream of mine for a long time, and you all are helping to make that a reality. But now more than ever, it's also becoming other people's dreams. People have signed on to this. We have citizens now who are actively contributing to making content on our channel that you know and love, and as well are just helping behind the scenes, who have been incredibly helpful, whether that is monetarily, whether that's with creating content, whether that's helping to run things that you guys like to use, like our Discord, our Instagram, our Twitter, and even that Imperial Market. So I am so excited for the direction we're going in, and I want to thank you all for supporting us with that. If you can purchase Imperial Notes, I definitely recommend it. They're going to be something that we hopefully use to create a micronational standard for currency, so be looking forward to that and think about investing in it yourself. And in addition, the first few people that buy that, like I said, we're probably going to do the first 10, 15, 20 to do that. We'll get handwritten letters from me thanking them for their investment in our empire and an investment in the micronational community at large. So I am so excited for the future, and stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.